Perfect. Okay.
Nice.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome back to the Unhinged BookCast, a podcast hosted by Jess and LJ, who love all things fantasy books. I'm LJ.
And I'm Jess, and we're happy to have you back again.
Whether we're deep diving into thoughts and theories or just writing the vibes, we love discussing our current reads with each other and now with all of you.
Tonight, we are finally getting into Book 6 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout, The Primal of Blood and Bone, chapters 32 through 48. Please note that we have not finished this book yet, so we would appreciate no spoilers in the comments.
But we have read the prequel series, the Flesh and Fire series, so there will definitely be spoilers for that one. Speaking of which, now you can discuss with us spoiler-free chapter by chapter in our Club on the Fable app.
Also, please do all the things, liking, following, and subscribing on all of our platforms.
These are romantic fantasy books that are intended for adults. We will be talking about war, gore, and no pants dances.
So this is your content warning. Our discussions are not suitable for little listening ears. We hope you are all reading along with us, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts and theories as well.
Previously, we were fighting with the seahorses and the dead mermaids, and
Kraken and
we had Scion and Rahar, two primal gods that came to assist, I guess, with the Kraken. And so that's where we're starting here now. But there's still like some quakes that are going on, some like earthquakes and stuff like that. And she
yeah,
has
little
this
like
feeling,
tremors.
yeah, and she has this feeling that it's like Primal's dying.
Mhm.
Um, and then that's all I had for a little while until other things happened.
Yeah. So she's like when she's healing the wounded in the aftermath of the whole Kraken thing and all that stuff. Um, I guess the whole like life for a life thing doesn't apply to Atlanteans, so like she can heal well, not just heal, but like she can bring an Atlantean back to life if they're dead, and it's not going to take some other random unknown person's life. But if she heals a mortal or brings a mortal back to life, then it's some other mortal has to die to take the place, like keep the balance. So I just thought that was interesting how she's not into that. She won't bring the Atlanteans back to life just because there's no repercussions, basically.
Right.
Which I thought that was interesting just because everybody's like, with the great power, basically great power comes great responsibility, and
That's
she's kind
exactly what I was
of
thinking, Spider-Man.
yeah. But she's like at least kind of proving that she's different and she's trying to be good. I think she is good, but
Yeah.
she uses compulsion for the first time. Not sure if it's important or not. Threw that in there. I think that's all I had for that little part. Did you have more on this?
Yeah, I just had at
Okay.
some point they're banging
Yep.
and there's they feel a presence with them,
hmm
which leads us into chapter 33.
Yeah, and they're like distracted. They don't realize it till he's there already.
Yep. And then I know you have way more than I do, so
Okay.
I'm gonna let you go for
So
33.
Reaver is the presence that they felt. And for some stupid reason, Castiel goes all psycho on him, turns himself into a cave cat. Poppy's like hilariously freaking out at this point that he's a cave cat because she's like, "Oh my gosh, and his fur's so soft and he's a cave cat and how the hell did he shift before me?" and all this other stuff.
Yep.
And then she goes, "Wait, how did he shift before me? That shouldn't be possible yet." And then her like foresight thing, Videntia, tells her that it shouldn't be possible. Or we find out later why it probably is possible for him.
Mhm.
And then something about how the Demonian gods, which is what they are more like ancients and that it should take them like centuries to actually be able to like shift. But she feels like there's a missing piece to the puzzle of why it's possible for Castiel, but she can't quite put her finger on it.
Yep. And then, like in this, so while Reaver's trying to get Castile to like calm down, basically, and not be a cave cat,
hmm
and at one point, Poppy goes, "Stop hissing at Reaver," and I died. I was like,
That part
"That's
was
funny."
good. That part was funny. I
Stop
also liked
hissing at
how
Reaver.
like it took her a minute to actually start. I think it wasn't until Reaver was like, he was trying to be calm and stuff like that, and then finally he's like, "All right, if you want to go, let's go. I'm done with this kind of thing." And then Poppy's like, "Nope,
Yep.
nope, nope. Now I
Nope, we're
guess
not
I'll
doing
try to
that.
stop this." But I like how like until that point she's like, "He's a cute cave cat. And oh my gosh." And like and
He's
then she's
so
like, "Oh, hold on.
adorable.
I should probably try and stop him." Yeah.
Probably shouldn't let him try to eat Reaver or let Reaver eat him. Like,
Yeah.
but it does slip. I think it's Reaver that slips. It like says that he's Castile has done this before.
Yeah, I
She,
think it was
oh, it's a
Castile or
meal.
Reaver.
A meal. No, he a meal's
Okay.
hiding or whatever. And he goes,
Right.
yeah, I don't really want to
Be eaten
be
again or
eaten again or
almost
attempted to
eaten
eat
or
again. Yeah.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So, and then she's like, what the fuck? This has happened before?
Yeah.
Uh,
And then so then Castiel finally like snaps out of it. And then him and Poppy do it again in front of Reaver on the floor.
not really in front of Reaver. He's like
Okay, a
behind the
Reaver has
door,
the
but
decency
Reaver's,
to like somewhat remove himself, but he's there
yeah.
enough. He knows
Because
what's
Reaver
going on.
keeps saying, like, can you stop standing there with your dick hanging out? And
Yeah.
Castiel's like, you do it all the time.
Yeah. Um, but the only truly important part about this chapter was Reaver came in to tell them that she is coming, the Queen of the Gods, Seraphina, is coming to see them. So, quite honestly, we could have skipped the rest of that chapter and just had that part. But
Yep. So then chapter 34, the queen has arrived.
yeah.
That's all I have. Oh,
Yeah.
and like later in the conversation with Seraphina, she is saying how Rahar is dead. And
Hmm.
they're all just kind of weary. And she's mostly weary of Castile still.
Yes.
Seraphina is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought I really didn't have anything much more than that either. Um, but I did find the meeting with Seraphina and Poppy funny. Reaver is really funny too. And I think it made it more fun just because we've read Flesh and Fire, so you feel like
Mm-hmm.
you've got
You
these
know these
backstories, you know
characters.
how they
Yeah,
are.
we
You remember
love
that
them.
Reaver was like a 10-year-old kid in Flesh and Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so I loved all of that. I loved how Poppy was really, really nervous and then Seraphina's like just like her and awkward and weird and Poppy like waves at her and all
Uh-huh.
this
She
stuff.
keeps waving at
I
people.
know.
That's
But
like me. That's what I do. I'm like, hi,
hey,
I'm Leslie. Nice to meet you. I'm uncomfortable being here.
yeah. Yeah, so I thought their little reunion was cute.
Yes. So chapter 35. I have some couple things that we found out, and I know you've got a couple of these, so maybe we'll just kind of
Hmm.
go back and forth here.
Yeah.
But Seraphina helped entomb Malik. And
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? And I was kind of
That
like
was
pissed
interesting.
off because I thought this was Willa Collins the entire time because I think Willa is
That's right.
Keela,
Mm-hmm.
the goddess of rebirth and whatever. And
Ascensions.
yeah. And so I was like, what the fuck? So that kind of like made me mad at the same time, but it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense because of all those things that were in the tomb, Malik's tomb, when they went to go get Malik.
Oh
And they were
yeah.
saying about, and Reaver said something about how only Nikos or Seraphina could have set those guards there.
That's right.
Hmm. And they weren't
That
trying
they
to
were
kill
Germs, kind of
Germs. Yeah.
something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like that checks out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then she also tells them about how Colas has been summoning creatures from the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like where the Kraken came from, even though they kept calling it a Leviathan or whatever. But I was like, it's a Kraken.
They were using the two terms synonymously, which was irritating me.
Yes, because they're not the same thing.
No, they're not.
Right. If you're gonna do it, get it right. Um, and then you need to tell us about the Sekya, the half
The
mortal
Sekia or something.
Sekya.
Well, it's just that we were like, I don't remember if we were actually still recording or not, but you and I went on this tangent a few episodes ago. Like, what were those half bird, half woman mortal things? And
Yeah,
we could not find it. You could not find it. You looked for a long time.
I
So,
did. I looked for
anyways,
like
I
an
was like,
hour.
there it is, the Sekia or whatever, the bird lady things. So that's one of the creatures Colas is. Um, Summoning from the abyss.
Summoning from the abyss. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then I also like another flashback, but this is just the last week. But so she says that Ates will return because
Uh-huh.
he is also not tied to a court. And we talked about this last week about how somebody had told Poppy Castile, whatever, that Poppy Castile and Kieran are the only ones not tied to a
Oh,
court
the only
other than
dem and yem or
one.
whatever.
Yeah, there's only one other one that's not tied to a
That's
court, and
right.
that is Ates. He is
I
not
forgot
tied
about that.
to a
Yeah, so a
court.
primal not yeah. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
I totally didn't think
Yep.
about that.
Yep. And then all I put was thank God Sarah is getting Jadis,
Yeah. Um,
because that has been a whole thing for several books. And we'll get to that when we get to that. But
yeah. She also did, the only other thing is that she did make sure Poppy knew that, like, you're not going to be alone. You won't be without aid. Like, Niktos and
yeah.
I can't come back and, like, physically fight here because it basically would level the place, but we'll make sure we're watching and helping as much as we can, which made me feel a little better.
Okay. So chapter 36. So Poppy is having this conversation with Seraphina and everybody about like the people she met in Mount Lotho or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I met Holland in the continents. That's what the place was called. I explained that scanning the imposing liminate, which is that like stone or whatever,
Hmm.
statues in the sunlight of dawn, the stone was more gray than lavender. Then Lyrian, while I was in Mount Lotho. Then there was ... I trailed off, frowning. Aiden, Castile finished for me. The sudden feeling of something not being as I remembered rose. So this is like where she forgets that Thorn was there too. And they don't come back to it until way, way later. And Seraphina's not in the room, I think. But maybe I could be wrong. So it's
Interesting.
like she
I
forgets about
totally thought
Thorn.
she was talking about how something not right, how she was distracted by the statues
So I
being off.
think Thorn is not who we think it is, but I don't know.
Okay.
That's kind of what I thought that meant. But
Okay.
okay. So then also in this, like they're kind of talking about like her namesake and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, the goddess Penelope and I are very close, Seraphina said, and both your father and his brother spent a lot of time in her
Hmm.
company. I think he may have had a boyhood crush on her. She laughed softly, and the sound light and heavy. She is your namesake, but he chose your name. And then she thinks back to when she's talking to who she thinks is Leopold, and he says, you were not named by the queen. I named you after my ...
Hmm.
mother's dear friend. I told you Leopold is
Yep.
Iris,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah, no, you got me on that.
confirmation.
You got me on that train at
Yep.
least a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
100% agree with you. Yeah, that was a good call.
Yep. And then I also had like at some point in this, just all this talking, because that's all we do apparently,
Oh my
is
gosh.
she remembers about Malik's son.
Yes. I
And
got
then
excited for a second.
I did too. And then nothing comes of it again. We don't bring it up. Nothing. And I was like, what the fuck?
I know. It's gotta come up again at some point. If we don't finish this series out finding out who he is, and he better be a big player somewhere, I'm gonna be
Right?
really mad.
If it's just some random person, or it's like, yeah, he's dead for sure. So and so killed him. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be pissed.
Wait, because didn't they hold on,
They
when they talked about it here, didn't they say that someone killed him? Now that I'm thinking about this? Didn't
No, Isbeth thinks or
Okay.
thought that Elonia
Right, and
killed the
Valen.
baby.
Alonia,
But when
that's right.
she has after Castile's captured, she goes back to speak with Elonia, right? And it's just her and
Mm-hmm.
Elonia. And she's like, did you kill him? And she's like, no, I
Mm-hmm. Okay.
entombed Malik. That's all she says. So now I'm kind of wondering, did Seraphina kill her grandchild? Which is really sad, but did she?
Is he
I don't
not
know.
dead and he's
Is
some
he
like
not
big
dead and he's
player of
out
some
there
sort?
like
He's
we've been talking about? Is he a revenant or something like that? Hard to tell. But so then we go wake up Jadis. And like the only thing I had in there and this, and I, when I was reading it, it's about the like, I call them like angel statues or whatever.
Yep.
And I knew when I read this last chapter chunk or whatever, the first time they went to go to get Jadis, I remember the swords were pointing, I don't remember, either down or up. And
Yeah,
then
I
she
have.
mentions about the swords. Okay,
Mhm.
do you have it? Then go for it.
Yeah, so the statues in the hall leading up to the chamber to Jadis, she notices are different. Which I thought that that's why she was like, something's not right. Like she kept being distracted, like something's
Uh-huh.
off, something's not right. She realizes that the last time she was here, that the swords were pointing at the ground, and now they're pointing up.
Yeah. And then she like last time she just wanted to touch them and nobody would let her touch them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But that was the last one I had, other
Okay.
than Jada's waking
The
up.
end. Yeah. Um. So in her talking with Seraphina, Sarah keeps mentioning stuff about how Kin and stuff about Kin and Attis and their connection with Castiel and being kind of cryptic, but she won't tell Castiel why everyone keeps saying that he looks like Kin more so than Attis, and then she says that that's Valen's job. So Castiel's supposed to ask Valen about that later, and we find out why later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I guess I did have a note too about how, yeah, Leo is definitely Iris, but this also did make me question because Poppy had questions about Cora,
Yep.
Coralina, her, mom, because she supposedly, she was a handmaiden, supposedly, and supposedly also Ian was her son. But if she was a handmaiden and a revenant, revenants can't have kids. So she had to have, if Ian was her son, she would have had to have had him before she was turned Rev. Um, but then that begs the question that Poppy's like, well, then if that's true, then how did she retain a sense of self? Because she remembers her being like very kind and loving and gentle,
Mm-hmm.
and also acting like she loved her and Ian. And then she also did possess some level of magic to be able to like shield her eye color because the Revs all
But
have like that
remember,
pale
is she
blue,
asked Isbeth about that at some point before she kills Isbeth. And Isbeth says I loaned her primal magic or whatever.
right? Which I think she could do with the Revs. So that part wasn't as much of a question, but
Mm-hmm.
it does still make you wonder like, was Cora also somebody that we don't know,
Yeah.
not who she seemed?
Not
Is
who
she
she
still
seemed to
out there
be.
somewhere? Something like that. Was she really
Yeah.
Ian's mom? I don't
Yeah.
know.
And I have so many, like, I don't know. Something's up with Ian, man. How did he know all this stuff?
Right? I know. How did he
How
know
did
all
he
this
know
stuff?
all this
Castiel
stuff?
was the one who was like, maybe he had some seer in his bloodline.
See,
When
my,
go
yeah,
ahead.
or a seer, or is he a victor?
I don't know. A Victor turned ascended though? Because he was for sure turned.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, I don't think that, I don't know. We don't know if that's possible or not, I guess.
I guess we don't know if that's possible. Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe that doesn't make sense. But, because he's the one that always tells everybody all the stories. Because he
Yeah.
knew all this stuff
He
and he
knew about the
wrote
story
down
of,
the
he knew
stories.
about Satoria, the Siren, the
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 Laminadente,
Lamea,
the
the
Lamea,
Lamea.
yeah, that thing, the
Yeah,
fish monster.
all kinds of stories, all things that she's slowly finding out, and she's like, wait, that wasn't a story, that wasn't a story, that was real, that happened. Yeah.
And like Ian was setting up for the Unbound, which we heard about,
Yes.
and I don't know,
Yeah.
or he's a fate.
I don't know.
Um, I don't know. Anyway, we can keep going because I see cry faces. So let's talk about the Jada situation, even though I don't want to, because that one was kind of
That
sad.
was a little rough. Yeah. You want to start or me?
No, I got nothing.
You got
So
nothing.
you go for
Okay.
it.
They are able to wake Jadis, and Sarah tells Poppy that like, yeah, she can feel you. She just has to choose to wake up.
Yeah.
And so they kind of like both put their hands on her together, and she does start to wake up, but she is in rough shape. She's in rough shape.
Uh-huh.
Mentally, she's in rough shape. Physically, she's teeny tiny, way smaller than she should be. Um,
Her horns have been sawed off.
yes, she's a mess. And then Reaver was a mess. In
Mhm.
his and I think if we hadn't read Flesh and Fire, this wouldn't have been so
Emotional.
heartbreaking. But
Yeah.
they were so close. They're like brother and sister, basically. I
Yeah.
mean, he is always looking out for her. He is always babysitting her. He's always entertaining her when in Flesh and Fire. And also, if you think in Flesh and Fire, like even as a 10-year-old little kid, he was so like big and
Mature.
tough and mature and
And
always tried
wanted to
not to
be,
cry or
yeah,
show
and wanted to
emotion and
be with
stuff.
the
And
adults and doing
mm-hmm.
things. And yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I saw again. It was almost like he was transported back to when he was a cute 10-year-old little kid and he was like trying to be tough, but he really just wanted to break down and cry. And it was killing me. It
It
was
was
killing me.
sad.
It was killing me.
It
I
was so
truly
sad.
don't know if I should have added a full cry for this one or just a half cry or a three quarters, but the tear didn't go down my face, but I did have to wipe it away off of my eyes.
Then
So I
that
really
counts.
don't
That's a
know. Does it
tear.
count as a
That
full? Okay, then
counts. That counts.
I'm gonna have to change my cry counter
If you had to
again
wipe it
when we
away,
get
that's a
down
tear.
there. All right, fair.
Oh my goodness. That is a tear. If you had to wipe it away, it's a tear.
Oh, that one got me.
But basically Jadis didn't want to wake up. And
Hmm.
so, and then she doesn't want Reaver to take her. And so they call somebody else to take her back to Elysium.
And I do love how Sarah was like, I mean, Jadis is sitting there going like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I didn't want to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sarah's like, but we want you. We need you to
Mm-hmm.
wake up. Like I like the way she did that,
Yeah.
which also made it more emotional.
10 times more emotional.
It was a
Exactly.
lot.
It was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So let's move on to chapter
Okay.
37. So then we're having a conversation with Whiskey and
With
Serafina, and
whiskey.
with Whiskey and Serafina, or Sherry, or whatever it was.
Wait, I'm like, who's whiskey? I'm lost.
It's and Serafina's like, we should have this alone, and Castiel's
Uh,
like, hell no. And then basically she finally tells Poppy, and this is at 70%, at the
yes.
70% mark of a
Goodness.
like nearly 1,300-page book, that Poppy is Shakira. And I was like, thank God.
It's about time.
It's about time.
Yep. And then she realizes, well, she also tells her about Callum basically being
Her
her
brother.
brother. Um, and it's later, but I'm gonna talk about it now because I don't even think I put a note in about it. But later, Poppy kind of is thinking about it, makes the connection like, okay, so Callum is my brother. Colas is
Oh
he's my
yeah.
uncle technically
My
because of
great
Iris.
uncle.
He's my
Yes.
great grand uncle, but he's also
In
obsessed
love
with
with
me,
me.
in love with me. Like in my first lives, he was in love with me. Now he's in love. Now he's my uncle.
She goes,
Weird
ew.
connections. Yeah, ew.
I'm not
That's how
even
I
gonna
felt
think
about it
about
too.
that or something. I was like,
Yeah.
thankfully, because I had this like thought too, and I probably never put it down, but I was like, sweet home
Yep.
Alabama.
Yep.
Okay. So then chapter 38, all I had was that we find out that the joining was basically pointless because Colas can break it and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's all I had to.
Cool. 39. Sarah gives her Sarah's bone knife.
Yeah.
That's all like cool and pretty.
Hmm.
And then so Cass puts it in his chest strap, but we find out that it does not burn
Poppy.
Poppy. It just
Yep.
gives her like the tinglies. Um, and I had this thought that like if Cola or is if Cass is possessed by Colas,
Hmm.
or at some point gets possessed by Colas, because he does have the essence of death and stuff in him, then Poppy would have to kill Castile to kill Colas, and I think Castile's gonna die.
I kind of, I don't want,
I think that's in
I
game. I
really
don't
am
want to,
not,
even though I'm over him.
yeah, me too.
But
But
like my thought was like, okay, this originally started as a Poppy book,
yeah,
and then now we're getting more and more Castile, because like most of A Soul of Blood and Ash was all Castile, and
yes,
then this book has been going back and forth,
yes.
and I'm like, I think Castile's gonna die.
I kind of do too, which would be
Mhm.
interesting for an author to kill off the MMC in a book. But
But hold on though, I don't think. Okay, remember how I told you like this was probably like 2 times, maybe even 3 times ago, that I was like, Castile and Poppy are not endgame. It's Satoria
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, I
Ates.
had these weird thoughts about that too this time around.
This is a Romeo and Juliet. This is what this is.
I don't, yeah. I don't know if I
Mm-hmm.
like that. I don't think I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying personally, I don't. I don't want that. I like
I don't want it
still,
either. I'm just saying, I think that's what
yeah.
it is.
Okay. I mean, in a small weird way, it does kind of make sense
Especially
because
because Ates is coming back.
Attis is back, but also okay. So let's say Colas like inhabits Castile somehow. Um, his weakness is love. So Colas loves Satoria. Castile loves Poppy. So like double whammy.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna. Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
know.
know.
I was having the same thoughts when I was reading this, but I didn't want to have those thoughts.
The same mental mapping we got going on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And that's about all I've got.
Yeah, that's it too. That's
Okay.
all I got.
Yep. Sarah has to piece on out before the Notum gets too strong. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
chapter 40, all I have is that she destroyed the Star Diamond because she felt nothing from it. And
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay. So she goes into Cass is busy with Kieran. So she remembers about the vault that um Isbeth would take her into when she was a girl. And so there's like a secret entranceway and a code in like the throne room area. There's lots of rare jewels down there. But I'm putting this down here. I am noting she made a big deal about talking about the twin stone, and this is the first time we're hearing about it, and I'm just putting it out there because the last time that we thought, or I specifically thought, that a stone meant nothing, it ended up
That
being really
is
important.
true.
So
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if
do
this means
remember hearing about
anything.
that one. Yeah, that's true.
And she does say that it shifts from black to white as the light hits it, which I was like, is that just because it was dark in there? And then, like, it gets light as the light hits it, like anything else would?
Or is this
Or does it,
special?
or is it special? And it's like
Or are we going to
shifting
put things in
colors.
it? Who are
The
we going to put in
twin
it?
stone, I'm like, the twin stone, Eris and Malik are twins. Ates and Kin were twins.
Ethos
Athos
and
and Colas were twins.
mhm.
I don't know. So I'm noting it now because I don't know if
Yeah,
it's gonna
it
be important later.
could be interesting.
Yeah. But then yeah, she finds a star diamond, holds it for a bit, and then shatters it. And I really don't know if it was on purpose or on accident, honestly. I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters. Chapter 41. So this is the whole like thing with Delano, and Delano gets me every time.
Yeah,
He's one of my
I
absolute favorite
know.
characters. And basically Poppy gives him the woven dagger because she's like, I'm never going to use it again. So you can have it if you want it. And so he decides he's going to take it.
Well, and this is the
Um,
first time he ever found out about like whose bone made the
whose
handle.
bone it
And she
is
tells
and all
him.
that. And he's
And
like,
I'll be
oh, that's why you've
honest,
been carrying a shadow stone dagger.
yeah. I'll be honest, this gave me for sure a half cry. This
Oh,
part did.
really? Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I need to change my I need to change
Again.
my thing.
So you have a
Yeah,
full 1.5 to add tonight.
did. Yes, I do.
So far, who knows what else will happen. So then we finally get back to what Malik wanted to show them
Right.
before the earthquakes and Kraken and
Yeah, all that stuff.
Primal, all that nonsense. Um, so they go to this like house and they go down like under the house or whatever. And then I just wanted to mention this. Okay. So there's Helena or whatever it is.
Hmm.
So I have quote, Helena bowed her head as Castile and I neared her nervous gaze, bouncing to Malik and then behind us as if she were looking for someone. And I said that our bet is still that you think they both have the hots for each other. And
Hmm.
I think it's just Kieran that's oblivious.
No, I think Karen likes her.
We'll find out, won't
Yeah,
we?
maybe. Who knows?
We better find out. I'm gonna be mad. I'll be
We
like, and there's
need
just five
something.
dollars sitting here. And then now we have some more groups of people, which is called the Unbound, which I guess are good ascended that don't feed on blood, which we find out later from Malik that they feed on wild blood.
Well, they actually talked with them and they explain it to them. So
Oh,
while
okay.
Castiel and Poppy are there, um, wait, that goes right into the next chapter, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's in the next
And I
chapter.
actually put that at the end of this note. But
Okay.
yeah, so but in this chapter, anyways, they talk about how the Ascended don't need to feed to exist, that it's more of like a high and an
Hmm.
addiction, and one that can be broken over time. And then yeah, they call themselves the Unbound, and Ian was kind of like their leader, kind of. He was kind of the one who started this whole thing.
Yep.
Um, and to be unbound means that they've broken the addiction. They also share that they can be killed in this. They They still have to be killed by the Shadowstone or Bloodstone, just like the other Ascended, but
Mhm.
their needs and their strength are that of a mortal. They're not the same as the Ascended that feed on blood, on mortal blood.
Mhm.
And then this is the part that just rolls straight into chapter 42.
Yep.
Um,
That's yeah.
and so then we find out that they feed on wild blood when the bloodlust gets too unbearable, which still doesn't give them like the almost godlike strength and speed and immortality and stuff. Um, and they say how if they fall into madness, into the like bloodlust madness, and they can't get it under control, they've all taken an oath to, quote, meet the sun and just end it all. And then Millie apparently is a big part of like helping them follow through with that. She's
Yeah,
like
like she
there with
walks out
every
there with
one of
them.
them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So at
Interesting.
least they're not dying alone.
Yeah. And then also, I don't know if we've learned this in the past or not, but revenants also need to feed. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
I
that.
I seen that at first too.
Yeah. So apparently the revs also need to feed, but it's kind of like a huge mess and a big deal because they don't have the
They don't
right
have
hardware. They don't have fangs.
fangs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
So then
Um,
they go to see the Lord and Lady of like Cross area.
yeah, which is the Howleys, and all I said was they killed the Howleys, the weird orgy people.
Yeah. They were nasty. They were giving me the hibbity
The
jibbities.
ickies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and the ickity ickities. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Moving on. They're
Moving
dead. So
on.
moving on. Chapter 43. All I had was a mall saying mother and father are fighting again.
That part was great. Reminded me of our last series.
Yes. And like I think that's what I said like last time or something like that too.
You
I was like, mom
did.
and dad are fighting.
Yep.
And
Have
that's
they
why I found
stopped
it so
fighting
funny.
at all in this whole
I
chapter?
don't think
Ah,
so. Like, they're
I'm over
they're
them.
fighting or fucking.
So
It doesn't
over
really
Castiel.
matter.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you have anything else, but I didn't have
No, just, I mean,
much.
Castiel throws a temper tantrum at some point. We got to get at least, 5 to 10 of those in per chapter chunk.
Exactly.
Because he doesn't want Poppy going to Pensdirth by herself. He's also seemed to become, like, I feel like he's becoming more and more controlling,
Yes.
and it's pissing me off. I'm
He's
just
becoming
so
very much like
done with
Polis.
him. Yeah, he kind of is.
Hmm. Okay, so chapter 44. She's decided to go visit the cliffs.
Hmm.
And Castillo comes to see her because she also, because this is like, she's like, I want to know if I feel anything, and she doesn't really
Hmm.
feel anything. And then Castillo comes and gets her, and he apparently just wills himself to wherever she is. And then Reaver shows up, and he's like, Thad has returned, and he is
Hmm.
injured. And
Hmm.
that's when we go have this meeting or whatever. And Daddy Valen is back, and he's looking rough.
Hmm.
And this is like in after Castile's point of view, but we get to Poppy's point of view, and she like immediately has like put pieces together. She's figured out. So I don't know if it's her little fact checker or what, but she's
Well, and
figured out what Daddy Valen is.
well, she could see something too in him, because
Yeah.
remember how only like the fancy special primals can see the ether in other people.
Yeah.
So that they mean they don't say it in this chapter, but that has to be what she was picking up on.
I thought it was her fact checker, but sure. It
Could be
doesn't
both.
say, so we don't
Could be
know.
both.
But
Yeah, we doesn't. It doesn't say. Hmm.
because I read it twice, I was like, wait a minute. How does she know something?
Yeah, yeah. I read that a couple times too. I got a little lost for a second.
Yeah. And then we know that they have, so over there in Pensdirth or whatever,
Hmm.
which is where they've come back from, they fought like a whole bunch of Craven, like hordes and hordes and hordes of Craven,
Yeah, and they were
and
like fresh Craven, is what they
fresh
say.
Craven, which they
Like
believe could
newly
be,
turned.
yeah, it could be the people that were leaving Pensdirth or whatever.
Valen believes 100% that that's what they were, is residents of Pensdirth.
Yeah. And then we also find out that Thad was hurt from a gigantic spear, which I always thought was called a bolt. So I apologize if that's what I call it. But a spear that is big enough to take down a draken, and they had a whole bunch of them. So like obviously they're ready for this, right?
Yep.
And we find out that Pensdirth is full of gods, and Various
Yeah.
is one of them. And
Which,
he
do you remember
said,
him from Flesh and Fire?
mm-mm.
I don't either. I mean, I know we don't know all of the gods' names, but I couldn't remember if he was in there or not.
And then he sends a message back with Daddy Valen that says Colas is going to be speaking to them
Contacting
soon
you
or
soon.
contacting them soon.
Something like that,
And all I can think about is we've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
yeah.
That's all I have.
Yeah, that's basically all I had too.
Cool. So chapter 45, Valen has secrets. And Poppy's like, let's talk, because I know. And Valen's like, shit, she knows.
Yeah, and he's
So
like,
they
yeah,
go
I know, we
out.
need to talk.
Yeah. So they go out to the garden. And then I don't know. Do you want to talk about this? Because you have way more notes than I do.
Sure. So first of all, I was like, because the chapter just starts up with like her being like, we need to talk to him. So
Uh-huh.
I was like immediately like, what's up with Valen? Okay, and I've talked about this before. I take notes as I go through the chapter, and I don't wait till like the end of the chapter.
Yeah, me too.
So my first little note here was, what's up with Valen? I bet he's a god of some sort. He was too familiar with the way he said Rahar's name because when Poppy
Mm-hmm.
said Rahar was the one who was killed or died or whatever, Valen was like, "Oh, really, Rahar?" Like the way he said it was like he was familiar with
And
him.
they shouldn't know him.
No, no, there's no reason that he would have known him. And so then I was like, And so I was like, is he a god of some sort? There's something off about him. And then I remembered back to, I thought it was Ates, but it was Seraphina who said that Castiel needed to talk to Valen about the family stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first note. So then they follow him out to the garden and they're talking. And there it is. I kind of sort of was right. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so Alien was Ates' son, and all we've known about Alien so far is that he is an ancestor. We don't know how
He
far
was
back or whatever.
supposedly the first Atlantean that called
Yes.
the gods to have a meeting
And
to
create the
help do, yeah,
create the wolf band and all that, right?
to
Mm-hmm.
bond between the wolves and the Caillou wolves and the
Oh yeah, not create them, but make the bond thing happen because there was
yes.
tension between them. So he was the one who kind
Mhm.
of like broke that. So that's kind of all we've known about Alien so far. So we find out Alien was actually Ates' son and
Mhm.
also Valen's father, therefore Castiel's great grandfather. Um,
Mhm.
And even Ilona does not know this stuff. Valen is actually a demigod. So he's
Mhm.
the product of an elemental Atlantean, which is his mother, which we don't know any more about her, and a god, Alien, because
Mhm.
Alien was a god. And he's not supposed to talk about his bloodline. He says the reason no one knows is because he, like, the fates
Atti's
basically were
fucked
like,
with the
you can't.
fates and his
He
bloodline.
messed with the strings of his bloodline, whatever that
Mhm.
means. And we know that Ates was taking care of Kin's family, or Kin's kids, basically. And then I don't know. I don't know what happened. How did he mess with the strings of his bloodline? I guess we'll find out later, maybe. But
Maybe. And then they also kind of mentioned about like, okay, well then who did Atti's have babies with? Like, and everybody's
yeah.
like, we don't know.
Yeah, so what about my great grandmother? We don't know. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, and then Valen talks about because Sarah mentioned when she was talking with Poppy about how she was there during the War of Two Kings, that she intervened in some way. And that was
Yep.
another thing I think she said talk to Valen about. Um, so she asks, and Valen tells that he was fighting with a king. We find out it was Malik,
Yep.
and Malik stabs him in the back.
And this was at Pompeii.
Yes, at Pompeii. Malik stabs him in the back. Malek, not Malik.
Mm-hmm.
um, but he has enough honor that he's not going to kill a man if he's not face to face. He's not going to kill him from behind. So they start fighting. Also,
Because Jasper's
um,
already down.
Jasper's
He's pretty
down,
sure Jasper's
pretty
gonna die.
mortally wounded. Yes.
Yep.
And so Valen and Malik are fighting, and then Seraphina just pops up between them and
Mhm.
knocks her son out.
Yeah.
Just knocks Malik out, which I thought was
And he
hilarious.
knows that that's Malik's mother because
hmm
Malik says mom or something
He
like that.
says mother. That's the only thing he
Yeah.
says. His eyes get all wide. He pauses and he says mother. Then she knocks him out. And she also brought Jasper back. Healed him or
Hmm.
brought him back. Kind of sounds like he was dead and she brought him back.
Yeah.
Um,
Which, like, they were thinking about it, like, this has to be so that, or maybe this is just Poppy thinking about it. It has to be
mhm,
so that Kieran would be there,
mhm.
she would be there, and Castile would be there.
Yep.
So obviously they're the trio because they're the main trio as it is. But
Yep. Yep.
something has to happen.
Yep. Without that little intervention, none of the three of them would be there because Valen would be dead and Malik would have run off with Isbeth, so she would never would have done what she did with Iris, and there'd be no Poppy.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Yep. Okay.
So chapter 46. So Castile is like taken off because he's like trying to process this, right? And he's
Yeah.
kind of jumping around, and Kieran's following him. And Kieran is saying that Castile needs to talk with Poppy because he's running out of time. And I was like, what the fuck? That's kind of weird, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I was like, that's a really weird thing for Kieran to say, kind of. But, and then I'm like, okay, but they think Kieran's a seer. Okay.
Mhm.
So then they have their bath time tango when Castile is finally hanging out with Poppy, unless you have something before
Nope.
that.
Nope.
Okay. And then right at the very end of the chapter, um, Castile like looks at his arm and there's like white bone sticking out of his arm, I guess.
Mhm.
And he feels that Kieran's words, those words, like I said, because I do the same thing you do. I write my notes as I go, not
Mhm.
at the end of each chapter. And he feels that those Kieran's words were like a premonition or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. He thinks back to it and he's like the whiteness of his like the ether in his bones or whatever makes him think back to when they were talking. And he's like, wait, there was a weird glint in his eye when he said that. He's like, I've seen that before in things that Jasper would say to me and in things that that Kieran has said to me in the past. He's like, now that I think about it, that wasn't like a threat or anything. That was premonition.
Mm-hmm. But see, then I thought he seen like an actual like white bone sticking out of his arm.
I think he saw he like through like his like translucent skin. He
See,
saw.
I don't know. And this is the same
I don't know.
shit with like when Poppy seen the bloody hand or whatever. And then like this pissed me
Hmm.
off. Chapter 47. I go, wait,
Mm-hmm.
what? Now we're eating fruit in bed. I was so pissed. I was like, what the fuck is actually going on? I was so pissed. Um, but then so it's nighttime or whatever, and she looks or she causes herself to go up to the window again, but
Mhm.
she's awake this time. And
But she also doesn't remember getting there,
she doesn't remember getting that.
even though she was awake.
Yeah, and she realizes there's a figure, a
Like a
shadowy
shadow
figure up on the
of a
cliffs,
person.
right?
Yep.
And she's like, fuck it, I'm going up there. So she goes up there, and it's a Rev.
Well, she goes up there because she realizes that she remembers like Colas can possess the Ascended or the Revs, and so she goes up there, and that's where she realizes before she goes, he's been peeping at her.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she's been and that's why she kind of got Castiel to do her in front of the window that night, even though she didn't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like she knew he was watching and she was like trying to provoke him almost.
Yeah.
And so then she's like, I'm going up there to see what's up.
Yeah, and she goes to go kick the peeping Tom's ass, basically.
Hmm.
And she's basically getting her ass kicked at the end of the chapter.
Yeah. Well, she's talking in this chapter, she's talking to the Rev, but she's talking to Coles and she's like, I know you're in there. Come
Mm-hmm.
out and talk to me. Then the chapter ends with Colas speaking through the Rev saying, I've always been here, Satoria. And then the chapter ends.
Mm-hmm.
We go to
So
48, our last
chapter
one.
48, yep, Ates shows up to help her. And helps her finish kicking ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have that Castile shows up
Mm-hmm.
and he just wants to fight with anybody and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Reaver shows up and he brings popcorn.
Yeah. I almost
And
wrote that
then
exact thing down.
Poppy decided that she's over it and leaves the boys to duke it out. And that's literally what I have.
Basically, I have the same thing. Also that she does realize she learns here that she can kill a Rev through the ether because She like impales the dude to the tree and then she uses the ether and actually like turns him into complete ash and actually kills him. So she can kill Rebs and so can Castiel.
Mhm.
Um and then yeah. So the way I put this end of the chapter was um Ate shows up, helps her fight the dude. Then Castiel shows up and starts throwing one of his little temper tantrums. And then Reaver shows up naked and he's ready for a show. And then Poppy gets fed up with all the stupid boys and their bickering and decides to leave them all there and goes back to her room.
Yep.
The end.
The only thing I wanted to talk about is like,
Mhm.
is she keeps feeling this tinge or whatever in her chest or her stomach, whatever, when
Mhm.
she's asking Ate some things like
Mhm.
what kind
Yeah.
of relationship, or maybe she's thinking about this, she's like, was I friends with him like in a past life, like what's
Yeah.
going on? And I've been telling you since it happened in freaking, since we found out what Satoria's name means, is my poppy
My
flower,
pretty
whatever,
poppy. My pretty poppy.
my pretty poppy or whatever, my pretty
Mhm.
flower. And I was like, oh my god, because then he's talking to Serafina and he's like, yeah, she was special to me or something like that.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, they're heartmates or was or something like that. And that's why she
Yeah.
feels that for him. And I don't know, man. I
I
don't
know.
know.
Okay, but then so I was thinking about this too. And then I really started thinking about it and this fucked up family tree thing we got going on here.
Mhm.
Okay, so if Ates and Satoria have their little, you know, happily ever after run into the sun together at the end, which I kind of don't think is going to happen now because now
I don't think it's
that
going
would
to
be
either.
Castiel's great grandfather, so that doesn't work anymore. But it is
Kind of.
interesting. It is interesting though.
It
How
is.
okay, so if Ates and Satoria had a thing in one of her past lives, now she's married to and heartmates with Ates's great grandson. Like it's staying
I
the
think that's
bloodline.
why she's heartmates with him though.
Yeah, I
Castiel.
think that's one of the reasons.
Because Ate's fucked with his bloodline, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be a part of
So
the
that at least,
bloodline thing.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
think it's like a Romeo and Juliet thing because they don't end up happy in the end.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking. But that's all we have.
Unfortunately, I can't
And
believe
then
we
we are
have
at
like a little bit of this
85%
book.
and we're just more
Nothing
confused.
has happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot has happened, but not
Yeah. What frustrates
anything
me
that
is like
makes.
I'm all about a long book like this if there's like good character building and things happening and stuff like that. It's not even like we're building any more worlds really or like even like the characters aren't getting any better.
We should
They're
be
not
problem
growing, they're not
solving by now.
changing. Yeah, we should be
We
doing
shouldn't be
something.
adding more. Yeah.
It's driving me crazy.
And just like the things with now we're adding these moving statues in the issue with Jadis
And the Unbound now.
and
And then
apparently
we've
there's
got
things
like
going on in Elysium that we don't get to know about, and the Unbound, and these gods that are apparently taking over Pinsdirth, and I don't know. And then there's more Craven problems, and it's like she does and doesn't remember that she's Satoria, and
hmm
I don't like it. But
me neither. It's really frustrating me.
yeah. Okay, so I want to get to the series cry counter. So this is the series cry counter because it's not only for just this series, it's for this series and the Flesh and Spire series. So we're counting
Yes.
all of these, like whatever we are, like 9 books now.
Yeah.
So I am still at a 2.25.
And I bumped up big time in this book, which is weird because this book is not that good.
Right?
Um, I went from a 1.5 all the way to a 3. A
Holy
3.0
smokes.
here. Yeah, full cry. We confirmed full cry on the Jada situation and half a cry with the whole Delano, her giving him back the
Yeah.
woven bone dagger. So I'm at a 3 now. I
You're
was
at a
way
three.
behind
You
you
have
like this whole
finally beat
time.
me.
We knew it was gonna happen at some point.
Most of mine, I think all of mine were happy tears or like almost tears. And that's how I just kept getting it slowly added up.
Yeah, no, none of mine have been happy tears. I know that for sure. So we hope that you are all loving going through and discussing both of these series as much as we have been. We hope that you are following along with us. Make sure to join us on Facebook and Instagram for more fun and conversations and updates about our next series.
Hopefully, you have all seen Friday's semi announcement video.
We will be officially announcing our next series this Friday.
So stay tuned for that and make sure you follow us and do all the things so that you don't miss it.
Our next episode will be our last discussion of The Primal of Blood and Bone by Jennifer Armentrout, chapters 49 through the end. It will be our series finale for the Blood and Ash series, so make sure you don't miss it.
If you are reading along with us or just enjoying our conversations and theories, or maybe you're our moms cheering us on, be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button on your way out.
And buddy reading any book with book besties is so much fun.
So make sure to share our podcast with your book besties.
And if you don't have any book besties,
Then become one of ours. And until next week, fill those drinks with ice.
and your books with spice.
Bye.
Bye.